By 1956, the Algerian Revolution was entering a new phase. The war was raging, but the movement lacked unity, strategy, and leadership. Deep disagreements had emerged between the fighters inside Algeria and the FLN's external delegation in Cairo. In response, a historic meeting was called, deep in the SOUMMAM Valley, to give the revolution a political foundation and resolve its internal contradictions. From August 20th to September 10th, 1956, the first FLN Congress took place in the village of Ifrien, deep in the SOUMMAM Valley at the heart of Kabyle. In the document adopted by the Congress, Platform of the SOUMMAM, two main ideas emerge. First, the Algerian character of the revolution and national independence is prioritized over all the divisions of Algerian society. The Congress adopted the position of Ibn Ramadan, for whom all problems must be set aside until independence is won. Second, the Congress defines the revolution as a struggle for the rebirth of an Algerian state in the form of a democratic and social republic, rather than restoring a monarchy or building a theocracy. The Arab leaders of the FLN's external delegation based in Cairo denounced the Congress as sectarian and voiced their support for an Islamic Algeria. At the SOUMMAM Congress, all political and military problems are debated. The Congress rejected personal rule and affirmed the principle of collective leadership. It also condemned the cult of personality. These criticisms are in fact aimed at Ben Belang, who persists in his approach to a negotiated solution without consulting the fighters from within. Indeed, Ben Belang was suspected of trying to strike a deal with the French, with support from Tunisia and Morocco, for his own political advantage. Ben Belang's efforts to find a negotiated solution without consulting internal forces were also attacked in the belief that negotiations could only come after an all-out struggle. This is how the saying, "no negotiations before the recognition of independence," was born. The Congress defined three key principles: the primacy of politics over the military, the primacy of the interior over the exterior, and the necessity of collective leadership. The SOUMMAM Congress also created a new leadership body, the Coordination and Execution Committee, or the CCE, made up of 5 members: Aben, Ben Khedang, Ben Mhidin, Dahlev, and Karim Belqasem. These 5 members all belong to the internal forces of the FLN. With members of the external delegation therefore excluded from political leadership, the conflict between the interior and Ben Belang becomes an open crisis. In Aben's letter, which accompanies the irreversible decisions of the Congress to the external delegation, his tone was firm and commanding. It makes sense that the exterior is secondary to the interior. It is impossible to direct action from the outside. The interior must lead the exterior because the interior has a better overview and holds the essential forces of the revolution. When Ben Belang received these documents, the crisis broke out. Among the external delegation, only Ait Hamid supports the decisions of the Congress. In a letter addressed to interior leaders, Ben Belang expresses strong opposition to the decisions of the Congress, especially its challenge to core principles like the Islamic character of future political institutions. Ultimately, these criticisms of Ben Belang were a confirmation of his undemocratic conception of power and his rejection of secular governance. In the response to Ben Belang, Aben and Ben Mhidin defend the decisions of the Congress in these terms: "It is a timeless law of history which states that one cannot validly and effectively lead a revolution without living in the midst of this revolution. Those who are in daily contact with the enemy on the one hand, and the people and the combatants on the other, are better able to judge the situation and act accordingly." Karim Belqasem's growing distrust of Ibn Ramadan played a key role in isolating him, and ultimately in his elimination. Karim therefore becomes an ally of the anti-Kabyles, namely Ben Belang and Boudiaf. As for the Egyptians, not forgiving Aben for his Algerianist policy hostile to their hegemony, they portray this Kabyle revolutionary as an anti-Arab. Completely isolated, Aben was, according to Mohammed Lebjawin, in the most cowardly way, ambushed and murdered in cold blood by those he believed to be his own. His assassination, decided outside of any governing body of the interior, took place on December 27, 1957 in Morocco. The murder of Aben changes the entire destiny of the leadership bodies of the FLN. The unifying work of Aben tended to prevent what was later called Wilayism, the natural tendency of certain regional military leaders to treat their zones like personal fiefdoms. When Aben disappeared, regionalism and factionalism quickly took over. With the assassination of Aben, the only serious attempt to make the FLN a party which could have embodied at independence the will of the people disappeared. Aben's assassination marked the army's takeover of political power and the reorientation of the revolutionary movement towards Arabo-Islamism, clientelism, and opportunism. Faithful to the ideals of the revolution, the two theorists of the Algerian struggle, Aben Ramadan and Hussein Ahmed, opposing the same determination in the face of colonialism and the authoritarian conceptions of certain leaders of the FLN, were eliminated by the latter. Aben was physically eliminated, and Ahmed was politically sidelined, that is to say, condemned to play only a secondary role on the national level.